Hey, welcome to today's video. I want to talk to you about naps around 6 months old. The reason I want to talk to you about naps at such a specific age is that they change quite a lot. And we go from having a very small baby who wants lots of naps, quite random, they might be really short and infrequent, to babies who need a bit more structure, a bit more routine, and actually can start to have longer naps. But all of this is normal and all of it might not feel so normal. So I just wanted to come on and talk to you a little bit about it. So, in the first 4 months of a baby's life, they literally will just nap wherever, and their body clocks are only starting to develop at around 3 months old. So, what that means is they, up until then, don't really have their own rhythm. They'll sleep whenever they want. They won't really mind how they sleep. They won't care if it's sort of in the sling, in the buggy, and actually, they might prefer motion to those sort of quieter cot naps. So if you have a baby who only wants to be in the sling and they're under 6 months old, totally normal. And actually you can start working on that as they get a little bit older. So then when we get to that 4 month mark, most babies go through quite a big sleep transformation, also known as the 4 month sleep regression, but actually it's a transformation. Our babies are changing how they sleep forever. So up until that point, they've been sleeping in a really active light sleep, lots of fluttery eyes, lots of wriggling, and their startle reflexes. So when they sort of jump in their sleep, that tends to wind down a little bit now, and they start to sleep a bit more deeply. And that is because they're going to start taking light and quiet sleep, our deep restorative sleep, all within one 40-minute sleep cycle. That's a huge change in how they've slept before. And this change in how they sleep often causes sleep to regress, hence the 4 month sleep regression. So their sleep regressing is actually because they are having to go from deep to light sleep within one sleep cycle, which is incredibly hard. So often they'll wake up after half an hour because they've woken up after their deep sleep and they can't get into their light sleep. So it's a real learning curve. And often what we see is actually babies were sleeping really well and now they don't know how to sleep anymore, and it's really common, it's really normal. It's when most of my clients come to me, actually, is around the 4 or 5 month mark. So what does this mean for naps? So typically we see lots of short naps, we see lots of 30-minute naps, and now we understand why, because they're just struggling to link through to their deeper sleep or their light sleep, whichever way they're going around their sleep cycle at that time. But also we see that babies need a lot more motionless sleep after this transformation, which means you probably want to start working on a cot nap, or at least if your baby loves the buggy, maybe a motionless buggy nap. And we often see lots of babies ready to sleep a little bit more independently. So this can make nap time quite hard, because you might find that you spend half an hour rocking them to sleep for them just to have a half an hour nap, and it can be really it can actually be quite depressing. I used to find that I would spend longer trying to get my son to actually nap than he would nap. And for his first 6 months, he would only nap in the sling, with a little hat over his eyes. I don't know, that's just what he liked, I guess, because it was a bit darker. And it was really stressful because I just felt like I couldn't really do anything, and I couldn't really sit down. I would just walk everywhere all the time. That was only how he slept. And it's at that 6 month mark that we can start working on sleep, and work on naps, so that you can actually start getting them in the cot. And I would probably aim to work on one cot nap a day. I wouldn't do all of them at one time, and I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. We still typically see babies at 6 months old taking short naps, and it's only when they sort of get to that sort of 6, 7, even 8 month mark we can start seeing longer naps. They're able to sleep for longer periods of time. Their bodies are more developed and more able to do that. So if you have got a 6 month old who's still having 30-minute naps, there are definitely lots of things you can do to work on increasing their naps. And actually you might find our infant sleep program really helpful for that. It's a really in-depth program, but it's for parents, so you can dip and dive into little short trainings just to help you with naps, not just naps, like bedtime battles, night wakings, self-settling, whatever it is you want to look at, but it might be really useful to help you with short naps. So when we look at routine around nap time, it's around the 6 month mark that we can actually start setting naps a little bit more by the clock and not so much by wake windows. So wake windows, you can go back and watch our video on the 4 pillars and you can learn more about wake windows, but that's the time that our babies are awake from until they fall asleep again. And normally we look at naps based on wake windows, but actually from 6 to 7 months you can start looking at the clock and you can start having more predictable nap times. So actually it's really good for parents. In terms of how many naps your little one will be having, at around 6 months we expect them to have 3 naps a day. Some have more, some have less, there's no right or wrong, but the average is around 3. And I would also say around 6 months we still have about 80% of infants waking up in the night. So we do not expect babies to be falling asleep and staying asleep from like 7 till 7 or whatever it is, that kind of magic number everyone talks about, 7 till 7. But we do expect naps to get slightly longer. Most babies are showing signs they're ready to sleep a bit more independently. And again, I've got a video on the channel all about this, so you can go and find it. It's the 5 signs your baby's ready to sleep independently, so go and check that out. But sleep at 6 months, you do generally turn a bit of a corner. But if you need some help with this, we have our one-to-ones that you can book in with me, but also we have our Infant Sleep SOS program, which can really help you to start working on sleep in a way that's going to just feel really good for you, and you're going to start seeing the benefits of more sleep, because we all need more sleep. I've just gone through a week of not sleeping very well, and my kids have slept, but it's a killer. It messes with everything. Like, you want to eat more, you don't have the same capacity to deal with things. So if you do need that help, reach out. We've got so many different ways to help you. Lots of free resources as well if you aren't ready for that program just yet. But I hope you've learned something about sleep and naps at 6 months. Hit subscribe, let me know what else I can help you with on this channel, and I'm going to catch you at the next video really soon.